They're so excited. My name is Caitlin Frame. This is Andy Smith. We have the Milk House Dairy Farm and Creamery, and we are in Monmouth, Maine. So this is a pasture-based organic farm. We milk about 30 to 35 cows at a time. We also raise laying hens, and we have pigs that we rotate through our woodlot. With our milk, we bottle raw milk, which we can sell directly to stores and to people off of our farm. And we also make a lot of yogurt.
We rotationally graze our cows. They generally have fresh pasture every 12 to 36 hours. The USDA only mandates that we get 30% of daily dry matter intake from pasture, but our cows average closer to 80 to 90% of dry matter intake from pasture, because that's the way we believe in raising cows, because we think that's better for the cows and produces a better product for the end consumer.
For the last 4 seasons, we've had a contract with Horizon, and this past January we were notified of that contract being terminated. We had 6 months notice, and this was in a wave of contract terminations in Maine. There were 6 other farms who received that notification, and part of a greater wave of contract terminations that is happening in many states.
The excuse that was used by Horizon, the company that had been buying our milk, was that they were no longer going to allow farms to divert milk supply for any other purpose, including on-farm processing.
Which is really just so sad to see, even in small ways, what that does to a community and what that does to like farmers' sense of ownership over their farm and what they're producing on their farm. To like, you know, maybe they can sell a little bit of milk to their neighbors still, but they can't sell like 50 or 100 gallons to a local cheese maker or someone who does small-scale processing like that. And there was a lot of that going on in Maine, and people who are now like afraid to lose their contract.
There's a huge shift underway towards large confinement, organic and name-only operations in the western United States that milk, 5, 10, 15,000 cows and somehow supposedly even meet the 30% dry matter intake from pasture rule. Which they don't, and if they do, it's only because they do really creative math. The organic market has provided a haven for a lot of family-scale farms, particularly in the Northeast in New England, that we just don't have the land base to be able to expand to that scale, even if we ever wanted to, which most of us don't. So it's allowed us to survive and even thrive for years, and now the same thing is happening in the organic market that's happened in the conventional market, where all the family scale farms are being forced out of business by these large corporate entities. In a hot, dry summer like we've had this 3rd year in a row now, we've had to walk the cows pretty far. It can take as long as a half hour just to get our little 30-35 herd of milkers to and from pasture during the day. So it's pretty laughable to hear that somebody could be milking 5,000 or 10,000 cows in the arid West and still be meeting the pasture rule of 30% dry matter intake. When the state of Texas has 6 organic dairy farms and they produce more milk than all of the organic dairies in the state of Wisconsin combined by like 25% more, it's fraud. There's no way that you can do that organically. Not if you're meeting the pasture rule. I'm sure that you can keep them in a feedlot and feed them feed that's been produced without pesticides and synthetic fertilizers. But to us, pasture is such a critical part of raising cattle and chickens and pigs that making organic all just being about what you're excluding from the production system instead of what you're including doesn't really jive with us. That's why a lot of us are trying to differentiate our products from, the USDA organic and trying to figure out different ways of doing that. We're really lucky that we had the on-farm processing, because actually we're now in a position where we don't have enough milk because we've just expanded in several different directions and taking control of our milk supply, which is another thing that there's a group of us through the Maine Organic Milk Producers and Maine Farmland Trust and MAFCA trying to come up with an in-state processor for organic milk, because the writing feels like it's on the wall that Horizon and Stonyfield and potentially even Organic Valley don't have long-term interests in the state of Maine, because our farms are generally so small and so dispersed that hauling milk in this state is very costly relative to other big farming states like New York or Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, and certainly those ones out in the arid west. So that is another thing that we're considering doing, is trying to form our own cooperative, and our hope would be that would have more stringent standards too when it came to things like grazing, to further differentiate our product in the marketplace.
And it's just so unfortunate that it's like everyone saw that happening, like organic farmers actually making money, and then big guys coming in to get a piece of that pie is what has created this total glut of milk.
For years, sales of organic dairy products just masked a lot of what was going on with the consolidation and these massive, fraudulent organic dairies out west, dumping milk into the market at prices we can't touch because they're just feedlots.
We really believe in organic food, and that it is better for people and the land and communities. It's like magic making, If I'm feeling like lofty about it, it's pretty amazing that we are grass farming and these beautiful, lovely cows make milk out of that, and we make this really nourishing food for people out of that milk. It really feels like a privilege to provide people with food, and really nowadays, like when we think of, obviously we are still very small in the scheme of any kind of food processing company, but we reach thousands of people now, and that's really satisfying and very moving to think that our grass is feeding that many people.
I also really like cows. They're nice.